5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, go.
Hello everyone, I am Josh.
Welcome to the first episode of the Heavy Sigh. Now you may be wondering why I'm saying the Heavy Sigh and not Tales from the Void. There's a very good reason for that. Josh, do you care to explain?
We started off being Tales from the Void, and we basically lost a member of Tales from the Void.
He's not dead, he just
Yeah.
moved on.
He just had more important things to do.
To the afterlife.
He had other things going on. A lot more of his time was being taken up by more important factors. So that was Mr. Michael, and we wish him the best and moving forward.
Well, you do.
Okay, so after that point, we just kept having more and more talks about going forward with, now that it was just going to be us two, what are we doing with the show? Do we want to make changes? Do we want to do this, that, and the other? And we just kept bringing up different things, different ideas. And in the meantime of while we were talking about these ideas, we just kind of lost focus on recording and what we were doing with Tales from the Void. Not that we didn't care, but it was like we were ready to kind of start over and kind of take what we really wanted to do with the show and move forward from there. And we kind of just came to the realization that what we were talking about wasn't going to be the same thing anymore. So we wanted to first and foremost start with a different name.
Yeah. When you do something and it starts off with three people, it's instantly, and it will forever be, all three people's thing.
Yeah.
So I felt when Mike left, we could continue on, but it just wouldn't be the same.
Yeah, I mean, well, one of the things that we even discussed was immediately was are we bringing in a third? Are we going to have another person come in? Are we replacing that voice?
That void, if you will.
Right. So yeah, that was the first thing that we discussed was do we do that? Do we go ahead with that? Do we find another person? And just continue on with the show as is. And we couldn't really, well, we know several people that would be great. That would be amazing to sit down and be able to do this with, but too many things were going to be a factor. And trying to bring in a third person was getting them, not only to meet weekly, but which day, which time. Is it going to be every week? Is it going to be like once or twice a month? There were just too many factors that were going to block us from us doing our thing, because that's really where the name change and everything kind of comes into place. Is let's go back to the drawing board, and let's not say that our show is this or our show has to be this. Like, let's just do what's fun for us. And I love Tales from the Void. I love that name.
Yep.
But just even going, the Heavy Sigh is what we came up with. That's a little more goofy.
Yep.
It's a little more playful, but it was something that fits us.
For sure.
Because that's kind of a personal thing to us. Like it's an inside joke, I guess, but it's also something that could be used as a podcast name.
Oh, for sure. Plus, let's not forget how often you sigh at some of the dumb shit I say when we hang out.
I sigh a lot. So
I'm working on my dad jokes, all right?
So yeah, we started there. We started talking about changing the name, and then we started talking about the little things that you guys don't care about, like what day are we going to record on? What time are we going to record on? What's going to be our new release day? And then we started talking about show format. How are we going to handle doing the show? What types of things are we going to talk about still? Just anything and everything, and talking about some of the bigger things, some of the bigger ideas that we want to eventually get to, and hopefully we will, maybe this summer or by fall, because it's stuff that's going to take time and money. Yeah. But we just hit one of those days and one of those meetings, coffee meetings that we had, that we just said, you know what? We're not talking about the same thing anymore. Let's wipe the slate clean, and let's move forward with what we want to do, and that just means starting over.
And, Tales was great from the word go. We had a lot of fun. We had some great guests on.
Yeah.
Everyone from Rory to Jeff.
And we still will.
Yeah. But like I said, I felt that was Mike, yours, and I's thing. Once Mike left, it just wasn't the same for me. Meeting up time, stuff like that. We kept rescheduling.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the moment where I thought personally that we should think about reformatting, renaming, and thankfully you agreed.
Yeah, it made sense. If we weren't going to just bring in someone else that was going to perfectly fit, because that is definitely a downside, a saddening factor to losing Mike on Tales, is that he was a very good fit for us. He was.
Oh yeah.
He was a perfect voice on the void. So we knew that going forward with just us, it was going to be completely different.
Mm-hmm. So. I'm hoping we can do like they do in pro wrestling. Like when a big stable breaks up, they go about their separate ways. And every once in a while, they have that comeback. And that stable returns. Like they do with the NWO or DX.
Yeah.
Get Mike back in here and we'll fire up the old theme music, throw in the old pictures, have us a good old wrestling session.
I'm laughing right now because you guys can't see Shaun, but I'm
throwing invisible fisty
He
puffs.
is physically throwing punches in the air as he's talking about wrestling.
Like a cat batting a ball.
It's entertaining. So that's the gist, sort of what just kind of led us to here to making the Heavy Sigh, and hopefully the show continues to do things greatly, makes great things. You guys still enjoy it, and you can help spread the word, and we can all grow together.
Now, this episode's going to be pretty boring for some, because of those of us who know, those of you who know us know the things we're going to talk about today.
Not everything. I think we're gonna throw some surprises out there.
There's a stumper or two.
Yeah. Hey man, we're wild cards.
But did you cut the brakes,
No.
Charlie? When you cut the brakes?
Sorry, no. I dropped that completely.
Christ.
Sorry.
So what we're going to do today is we're basically going to play Get to Know Your Host.
For now, we're being greedy.
Oh, for sure.
We're being greedy and selfish. This is about us.
You people have to listen about us. So sit there, drink your coffee, and listen.
And this is, I feel like this is going to be one of those comic reboots or movie reboots where we can put out the word of like, hey, now would be a good jumping on point for anyone.
Are we the new Dread?
No, absolutely not.
How dare you? That movie's fantastic.
I still haven't watched it, so I shouldn't say anything.
Carl,
I shouldn't judge it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that has been the Heavy Sigh.
Insert laugh track.
All right, so we're going to start this off. Basic, I think we should start where everybody else in life starts. Where were you born?
I was born in Dearborn, Michigan. Whatever the hospital was. I don't remember the name of the hospital I was born in.
Oakwood?
Heritage? Oakwood. I think you nailed it, yeah. You're staring at me like you don't believe me, or you're confused if you got the name wrong or something.
I was born in Oakwood.
Were you really?
Yep.
An Oakwood or that Oakwood?
That Oakwood.
I thought you were born in the UP.
No.
See, I'm even learning shit. No, yeah, I was born at Oakwood.
Nice.
That sounds 99% accurate.
All right. We're going to have to fact check this and get back with you.
Dearborn, Michigan. I was largely a downriver kid.
Dang.
Growing up, so
I shouldn't say anything. The first 3 years of my life, I lived in Taylor.
Yeah, that whole area, Wyandotte, Taylor, Romulus, that Southgate, those were kind of my stomping grounds when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
You were also born in. Okay, so that's actually something I didn't know about you. You were born in the LP.
Yep.
In Dearborn.
Yep.
Now, why am I confused about this? Why did I think that you were born in the UP? Because that's the way that it always sounded the whole time that I knew you.
Shame on you for not caring.
I care a great deal.
I was born in the LP. I was born at Oakwood, lived in Taylor for the first 3 years of my life, and I was adopted by members of the same, my members of my family, my at the time aunt and uncle. They lived in the UP because my adoptive father was a construction worker, so he was traveling all the time.
Okay.
And he got a permanent job in Iron Mountain where I grew up. So they got to settle down. I was adopted. I moved in with them, and that's where I grew up. After my dad passed, my mom didn't want to leave the area because I was already in like Head Start and I was making friends and stuff.
Adopted, though. See, you say adopted, but you were technically adopted by real family, right?
Describe real family.
Because wasn't technically your adopted mom your aunt?
Yeah.
Oh, so you were adopted by
I
family.
always say adopted in family. Yeah.
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 I just mean, you weren't adopted by like just strangers that were like friends of the family, or even just people out of the Yellow Pages or anything.
And the Wachowskis get you.
Growing up, my parents were divorced very early. My parents were basically going through that process before I was even born. So I've never had a time in my life that I remember my parents being together. So from day one, it was bouncing between, my mom got custody of us, but my dad had visitation rights. So my whole life growing up was bouncing between the two, staying with my mom and wherever we lived, and then visiting my dad, which was largely all downriver. I don't know. I guess that's kind of the boring bits. Like, what do you wanna get at? What do you want to know?
I kind of don't feel terrible because I'm going to tell it anyway. I'm going to just sidetrack real quick. Remember How I Met Your Mother?
The TV show?
Correct.
Yes.
Remember the episode where Robin goes out with that teacher? No, not the teacher. I'm sorry. The single dad. And
yes.
She runs into that kid.
Yeah.
And Lily and her are talking, and Lily goes, and he's divorced, and she goes, oh. And then Lily goes, and he won the kid in custody, and she goes, that's a victory? I always think of that when people talk about divorce.
All right.
Anyway, now that I'm done being evil and mean. By the way, there may be a lot of like extra long silences. That's only because we are recording on St. Patrick's Day, and we are like a half a block away from
downtown Royal Oak,
the downtown area that is just littered with drunk people and the religious folks.
Both. We've got an interesting crowd out here tonight. It's actually pretty nice. It's pretty cool. This is actually what I've been looking forward to, because even since we started with that is one of the largest waters I've ever seen in my life. What is that? 6 gallons?
This bitch is. Are they allowed to not tell you? Oh,
no, it's on
64 ounces.
Okay.
Half a gallon.
It looks a lot bigger than that.
Right. Mike and I used to drink these when we work out.
It's a lot of water, man.
Would have to pee like a racehorse.
Yeah.
Just when I was talking about the religious folks, they handed us these cards, and I happen to have mine still. I think Josh gave his right back.
I didn't give it back.
What'd you do?
It's out there somewhere.
There's a group of religious people out there handing out "You are a good person" in quotes cards.
Like I was saying, this is a good preview of what I've been looking forward to. Because when we started recording Tales here in Royal Oak, we started like late fall. We started in October.
Yeah.
So it was already like summer crowd and outdoor events were over.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm much looking forward to the outdoor walking around and crowd gathering, if you will, and all the events that happen in downtown Royal Oak. I'm pretty excited for that.
It'll be really exciting to see.
So let's jump back to your story then.
Right back.
All right. So 3-ish or whatever it was,
Yep.
You go back to the UP and you stayed there and lived there until you were how old?
20.
till you were 20. So
Yep.
all the way through high school, graduated high school.
It was kind of cool because a lot of the friends I made growing up had to come from different like charter cities, charter towns. At the time, there was 4 different schools that were K through 5th grade, and then you came to Central Elementary for 6th, 7th, and 8th, or Central Middle School. I'm sorry, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and then you went to the high school. And I was fortunate enough to where my middle school, my elementary, middle school, and high school were within a block of each other.
That's what everyone kind of imagines up there.
Yeah.
Either everything has to be right there next to each other,
Yeah.
or they're like, everything is like 35 miles apart,
Oh, yeah.
you know?
For the longest time, we had to drive 30 miles for a Taco Bell.
Ugh. That's just not worth it.
To me, it was.
So I'm curious too, like, do you recall at all, like, what size, like, was your graduating class?
92 people.
92.
It was one of the larger classes, too.
I can't recall mine, but I know that our graduating class, it had to have been over 1,000. I cannot remember the exact size of it because they do give the number, but yeah, it was over 1,000, but I don't.
My
don't remember.
my half brother and his sister both went to West Bloomfield, and he said their graduation ceremony was like an all-day event.
Yeah, some of them can be pretty lengthy.
I remember my graduation ceremony was like 35 minutes.
Wow.
I went to a friend of mine's graduation. His was 40.
They were like, here's your piece of paper, go home.
They were shuffling the kids in, and they're walking around as they're doing like all the announcements and the scholarships and stuff.
Yeah, see, that part in itself, when you go to like something down here, that large of a class, it takes forever just to get through those. You know, they're just spewing out name after name after name. Everyone's, lined up.
When you were in high school, did you guys have like the senior run? Like, where you guys just gathered up as seniors and ran the hallways and banged on the lockers and made a bunch of noise?
Nothing like that. We had like senior skip day.
Oh, those were fun.
But I don't remember a senior run, no.
Our senior, well, like I just described, they basically just gathered up all the seniors after lunch, and then you got to run down the hallways and make a bunch of noise and stop in classes and be like, "Woo,
This
I'm
is
a
actually
senior."
like an organized event.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's been tradition, I guess, since the school started.
Oh, okay.
And then it ended with the senior parade, which was like the underclassmen and stuff made floats and stuff, and there's collages of the year.
Yeah.
That was.
I remember there was a parade, yeah. I remember people were allowed to make stuff.
And the truck I got in didn't follow the route it was supposed to, because you're just supposed to go all the way down to the football stadium, which is like a mile away.
Yeah.
Cut up the street and then come back, and then you lap around the school, and then you go to the auditorium, do the graduation practice, senior lock-in, and you're done. The truck I'm in decides to drive past the stadium to the rival school, where he then provides us with eggs.
Oh, nice.
And as we're driving by, we just pelt the other school with eggs. So not only did we throw eggs at a rival high school, we're also like 25 minutes late for walking practice, as they called it.
Nice.
So we got there, we sat down, the principal dismisses everybody except the truck that was late and goes, "This is what it feels like when people make you wait. If you don't want to walk, you won't get your diploma."
Dang.
And somebody went, "You legally have to give us our diploma. At the very least, you have to give it to us in the mail. We do not have to walk." And that guy left. That was the last time I seen him. Seen, saw, whatever.
He's still walking.
So if I can rewind a little bit, childhood friends. Did you have any?
Well,
Were they visible?
Yeah. Yes.
You didn't have any invisible friends?
Invisible friends?
Oh.
I had I had a lot of time spent to myself. Yeah. Playing by myself as I was a kid.
Okay.
No, not allowed to insert any jokes
I'm
there.
I'm gonna work on that.
You were so close. You were like leaning into the mic with a smile on your face.
Like, I got this. Nope, I'm gonna be a better person.
So no, I didn't make up any friends or anything like that.
Okay.
No, I was if you want to know how I was growing up, I was very, this may be hard for you to picture, but I was very introverted as a child.
No way.
I was very quiet, very introverted. From an early age, I was more interested in just kind of making up my own games, using my imagination to just kind of do what I wanted. Again, reading or whatever it was, I always kind of kept to myself. I always considered myself as more of like an observer. So that's that. But I was always interested in outdoorsy activities and things like that. So
Cool.
It's not like and nothing's broken. It's not like I was a complete shut-in or anything like that. It's just looking back on my childhood, I definitely see like all those bits of me of kind of like how I am now. Like there was signs of that from very early on.
Are any of your childhood friends then currently friends now? Like, have you kept in touch?
My oldest two friends are Bert and Phil. So I don't have any current friends from way back in like the, elementary days or anything like that.
Okay.
But Bert and Phil I met while I was in middle school. So, I met them when I was roughly 11, 12, probably 12-ish.
Okay.
I would say is probably right around when I met like Bert and Phil. So I've been friends with them since then.
Nice.
As probably several of our listeners know, you know who I'm talking about. So, what about you growing up with your friends? Who you still got around? I know that's got to be tough for you since you moved around.
It's kind of funny. I actually don't really talk to anybody I grew up with.
No one.
No.
I thought you at least Facebooked with some people back home.
People that like I didn't grow up with, like I made friends with later on. But like my childhood friends, we stayed close through grade school, middle school, high school. When the day came for college, and one of them actually joined the Air Force, that was pretty much it. That's not to say, like, if and when I go home and they are there, that we're not going to say hi or anything. The last few times I've gone home and they have been there, it's just been like we didn't see each other for 2 weeks. It pisses my mom off too, because every once in a while I'll talk to my old friend Jason on Facebook because he'll pop on.
Yeah.
Like, how's it going? Then he'll be like, oh, good. And then we'll just start talking about current events. And he's a big professional wrestling fan like I am, so we talk about that. And I'll tell my mom, be like, oh, I talked to Jason the other day. And she'll be like, oh, how is he? I'm like, good. Is he married? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? I don't know. I didn't ask. Well, where's he living? I don't know.
It's not the kind of stuff we talk about, Mom.
Yeah, we don't have time for that. We talk about Sting coming back.
We talk about the important stuff.
Yeah. No, and there was the ones that just, you lost touch with after time.
So these are basically people that you knew who they were, but you didn't really become friends with until after the fact.
For the most part, yeah.
Until social media kicked in, essentially.
Yeah. There's one that was a grade below me I didn't become friends with until my senior year of high school. Brad. And every now and then we get to we talk and stuff like that, so.
That's weird.
It kind of sucked too, because we had a teacher tell us that like 60% of your friends you graduate with, you won't see after your first year of college.
So then who right now, that's probably accurate.
Yeah.
By the way, yeah.
I was like, fucking liar. Well, he was right. Sorry, Mr. Christensen.
Yeah. I mean, there's still people that like you still do occasionally bump into and that you see. But as far as like a main stable of friends or anything like that, like, no, I've got like that small handful that are still around. And I mean, really from like back in school days, like, yeah, essentially just the two. Probably like Bert and Phil. That's really. I mean, I've known other people since I was in like high school that are still like my friends, like John and Merrick.
Okay.
I didn't go to school with them, but I've known them that long.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know you knew Merrick that long.
Yeah, because he went to high school with my brother and Brandon.
Oh.
So that's how I met Merrick.
Brandon's older than you.
What's that?
Is Brandon older than you?
He is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like we should put him in a nursing home older, or?
No.
Okay.
We could go at about the same time.
Hey. I'm looking for you, friend. Don't worry.
So, Damn it! I had a question before we got sidetracked there for a second. No, yeah, I was gonna ask you who. So who then right now would be your oldest friend? You know,
Currently?
currently in life friend, not like Facebook friend.
Mike.
And when did you meet Mike?
In 2000, let's see, it's 15. I've known him 7 years. So like 07, 08.
You met him back then, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, we used to work at the same jewelry store. I came in, and then he got hired in just after I did.
Yeah.
And son of a bitch. First day I meet the guy, he comes into the... I worked at a satellite store, and he had to drop something off, so he comes in, he drops it off. He's like, oh, by the way, I'm Mike. I work in the South Lion store. We get to talking, and there's like a 10-second pause. And he goes, well, you're boring, and left.
Classic Mike.
Yeah, anybody that knows Mike knows that's pretty much on par with how he acts.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely amazing. I was like, that motherfucker.
Really...
Well, then like a year later, we end up, we have to go to Maryland because we're getting moved out there. We have to get licensed in the state before we can open the store. So him and I go out there, and the owner lets us use his car, and we're bowling through Baltimore, and there's a construction going on. There's a sign that says bumps. We're like, whatever. So Mike starts hitting the bumps, and there's like that one that's like, oh, okay. Then it's like a more aggressive one. So I'm like, okay, this third one's probably going to be a doozy. It was a jump. All 4 tires came off the ground. We did like the General Lee. We hit the ground. There was that like initial like of the car, followed by us going, "Oh no,
did we break something?"
Yeah, but no, yeah. As of right now, Mike's my oldest friend.
Nice. Followed by, hello train.
Definitely not that train. Fuck that train. I'm a terrible person. No, because up until you and I met, I never really went out and did stuff. Sorry. Yeah, up until you and I met, I never really went out and did things.
What did you do?
I was a hermit. I played games. I built computers. I drank. Now, come on. Anybody that knows me knows that is not a shocker.
I played games, built computers, and I drank. What a life story.
Right?
What about John Slovic? When did you meet that son of a bitch?
I interacted with him around the same time I met you, because it was that one day.
I thought you had met him before all of that.
It's funny you bring him up, because I used to get him and Rory mixed up all the time.
Nice.
Because the way, for some reason, I had pictured that John was Chris and vice versa.
I don't know how.
Yeah.
Other than they both try to be a little bit GQ. Okay, so we both had different and unique upbringings. Both show very significant traits of who we are today.
One thing that surprises me, and to this day it still kind of weirds me out, is when people are surprised that you're adopted. That I'm adopted.
Yeah. They're
like, oh my God, no way. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah, it's like why it's like they act like you were born with a disease or something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I remember my mom, when she first told me, she pulled out this book. It was called My Adoption Book, and it was the generic story of the kid who found out he was adopted, and the kid got upset because they weren't his real parents, and he ran away, and the mom had to go after him. And I remember she closed the book, and I looked up at her, and she was crying. She goes, do you have any questions? And I was just like, can I go outside and play?
Now, you knew your the way that it worked out for you was you were raised essentially by your aunt.
Yeah.
But you knew your mom, you just didn't know it was your mom, right?
Correct.
Until later. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was essentially like your real mom, your birth mom.
Yeah.
Was like a friend of the family, essentially.
Well, she was still a big part of the family, but because of the problems she was going through and she was having, she couldn't raise 3 kids. She already had my 2 brothers. So she decided that I would be better off with my aunt and my uncle. Fast forward, I'm like 14. My biological mom gets in a big car accident in the UP. So she's put in a nursing home. She's had all these surgeries, and she stays with us. I'm sorry, I'm not 14. I'm 12 because I didn't know at the time. Has all these surgeries, goes into the nursing home, and then she stays with us for like 6 months. And I keep calling her. I call her Aunt Kathy every single day because that's what I knew her as.
Right.
One day she just ups and leaves a note, says she can't bear being at the house. She doesn't like it, can't handle it. And I never understood why. It wasn't until, embarrassingly, I was like 24 and my mom was talking about it. And she goes, you know, you'll just never understand how difficult that was for her. And I sat there for a moment. I went, because she heard her son call her aunt and not mom. She goes, exactly.
Yeah.
And from that moment on, I understood how difficult that must have been.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, she was still a part of the family, but she just wasn't my mom. She was my aunt.
Because you know whose story that is similar to?
Bert?
Eddie Vedder.
Are you fucking
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Why can't Taylor Swift be adopted?
Sorry, friend.
Oh, you guys are going to really get to know my love of Taylor Swift, by the way.
And mine of Eddie Vedder.
Yep.
All over the place.
All right, so we were born, we were raised, we have friends, we went to high school.
So far, we have lived life.
That's right.
And we're still alive.
We're progressing, people. Still above ground. Did you go to college?
No, sir.
Okay. So you didn't major in anything?
No, sir.
All right. Minor?
No, sir.
Okay. Get on the dean's list?
I've minored a lot of things in life. Not in college.
Okay. I tried the college thing. I did 2 years for marketing and 2 years for business administration.
Yeah.
You
know, I think that was pretty close to what I was going to end up doing. Was like I was basically at the point where I was going to enroll in HFCC, Henry Ford Community College.
Nice.
And yeah, I was just going to kind of do like the business thing because kind of going through like high school and things like that. I loved a lot of little things, but like you have to especially understand like during the time that like I grew up in versus now was my true one strong passion was gaming. So if I tried to say that out of high school I was going to try a career in video games, it would have been laughs all the way around the table.
Oh, yeah.
Because it just wasn't a realistic thing back then. Now it's like almost as big as the movie industry.
For sure.
So, and there's so many different things that you could apply yourself to in that market. So I kind of let that go. It was just kind of like, I don't think I can realistically make that happen. Foolishly, I convinced myself that I couldn't make something like that. Because I always liked video games. I always liked art. I loved doing art. And I loved English in school. So I was going to kind of do something to do with English or journalism going into community college, and also something to do with business, because one of the things I did in high school was they had a school store.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of things with the school store and, helped like make a lot of the things for it and do some like marketing for it. And the teacher that ran it absolutely loved me. Like anytime there was like the parent teacher conferences, he just, even though I never got stellar grades, he still absolutely loved me. And he would just rant and rave like with my parents. Was just like, I think he's really got a future in this, and he could do great things like with this and da 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 da. So that was kind of the direction that I was guided in. It just never ended up happening. It just never ended up putting the money in and effort into going to community college. Instead, just started working, and that's what I've been doing since. I still keep all those things on the side as things that I love to do and do so that like, when I have my gaming moments, I do my gaming, I do my writing, I'll do my art and things like that. So those are just now more my hobbies and my passions, but there probably will come a day when that will also be my living. Nice.
I've read some of your writings, and there's no reason you couldn't be a writer. It's funny. I'm starting to know people that write. You, Our friend Jacob, very good at it. I just read 2 stories today. He wrote a really good article rebutting a comment about lumbersexuals. And this is, please look it up. The website's called menbeard.com.
Okay.
And the homepage is his rebuttal towards this this woman's write-up about how beards are nothing more than one of her accusations was it was men covering up for their inability to be masculine.
I'm not very much a beard guy at all, but I will largely disagree with that.
Yeah. She's trying to throwing darts at anything that'll take it, kind of thing.
It is. It is to me, if I may interject really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It is to me, and I believe, and it's just because it's what I think right now. And I know I've even said this knowing that it probably insults you and hurts your feelings because of the business that you're in. But I think that right now it is kind of a craze. It's kind of a fad. But it's a fashion thing.
You're not wrong.
It's a fashion fad.
Yeah.
In that, like anything, like just several years ago, it was the mustaches, and everyone went mustache wax crazy. And it's one of those things with like, the emo look. Everyone had that like woman's styled, perfect groomed haircut in all black. Like that was a fashion fad to me. The beard thing is cooler. It is like a more of a definitely, it is kind of a chest bumping masculine man thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because it's a beard. But
anyway, going back, the guy who wrote this, Jacob, is a very talented writer. I started writing a story that I picked up a story I started writing in the summer. He's been critiquing it. He really likes it. So I know a lot of writing friends that write, and it's obscene to think that they have all these good stories and they don't put them out there.
I'm getting better with that.
Mm-hmm.
I a lot of the stuff that I have done, you have read, and you would probably agree that a lot of the stuff that I have kind of done up to this point, although with the exception of a couple of the short stories that I've done, a lot of it's largely very personal.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not saying I felt this or Josh did this, it's obvious that it's very personal to me. So that's probably why. And I'm starting to break away from that and just take the stuff that I'm more interested in and more inspired by, and writing that and trying to come up with characters and stories for that instead of just, but I still will write personally just because for me it's a very good outlet. But yeah, I'm trying to, grow.
Yeah.
All right, so now we feel like what we're gonna do is we're just gonna probably I think we both just kind of jotted down some questions.
Yep.
I believe.
Yep.
You have some questions.
Yep. People know us growing up now.
I have questions. So
let's ask.
By the way, we have if you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, we do have a new email address. I'll fire right at you. It is theheavysigh@gmail.com. Again, that is theheavysigh@gmail.com.
Did you sign up for Gmail before it was public? Like where you had to get the invite?
I did. I had to get an invite, so I was in the beta.
I had 4 people recommend, because like you had to know somebody in there.
Yes.
I had 4 people send recommendations, and I still had to wait till it was public.
That's weird.
Felt very snubbed by Google.
You were snubbed a little bit. Yeah, no, I got in right away, and they gave me some invites right away.
Nice.
So, yeah, we're going to do some kind of get to know you, weird, random, goofy, whatever the questions may be stuff. We're just going to rapid fire them out, and then hopefully it'll be entertaining. We'll see what happens. Who's starting?
Go ahead. You started. You wiping your butt?
All right, mine's pretty basic, pretty simple.
Basic bitch.
If you could live anywhere, where would it be?
I'd probably go back to Wisconsin.
Really?
Yeah.
The cheese state?
Yeah. Green Bay was a great area to live in. I lived in Green Bay for a year. It was it was populated enough. There was 100,000 people there. Football season was amazing.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
You had to deal with winter but I gladly deal with the changing seasons than like floods and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I complain about the cold and wish for warm weather, but you've known me long enough. When summer rolls around, it's above 80. I'm just a whiny baby.
It's it's a very valid thing to bring up is how much other stuff we don't have to deal with here. Everyone complains about the changing seasons and especially winter. Mostly everyone complains about winter, but yeah, we don't have all the natural disasters. We don't have all the poisonous snakes and insects and other shit eating our faces. There's so much, the flooding, the earthquakes. We don't have to deal with that stuff, and we're surrounded by these awesome lakes.
Yeah. I had a cousin who moved out to New Mexico and had to get insurance for his house.
Yeah.
And one of the requirements to be accepted for it was to do like an insect check.
Yeah.
And they ended up finding scorpions in his bedroom.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of that here?
No.
Yeah.
We complain about ants.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's actually just sorry to
No.
jump in on there, but that's a very valid point. So, for me, here's the problem with me. I'm gonna go in the complete opposite direction, and I'm gonna say that right now, I would pick something like Montana. Either Montana or Oregon.
Okay.
Somewhere where there's some seclusion, and the scenery is absolutely beautiful. The weather is absolutely beautiful.
Okay.
But I want high-speed internet. So, as far as where I want to live a life in an area that I would like, yeah, it would be that. But ideally, for what I would need, probably not that.
A couple of weeks ago, when I was on my Facebook ban, Mike was telling me you had posed a question about if you could have one thing.
It was shit.
Because I remember him talking to me. He goes, "If you could, would you have internet anywhere on Earth?" I'd be like, "And that I certainly would."
Oh, it was one thing. If you could have one thing for free for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh yeah, high speed internet.
You would pick internet?
Oh hell yeah.
Because it could go as high as I had two. My first thought immediately was, and somebody already kind of chimed in and took it, so I kind of went with my second one.
Okay.
My first one was housing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of a big expense. So if you could get housing for free.
It's insane to think how, and I shouldn't say it so, black and white, but it just seems like how easy life gets once you own a place, like your own house.
Yeah.
Like property tax and your regular bills, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, and upkeep and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Upkeep's pretty serious.
You get one of those 25-year roofs, though.
Yeah. So my default pick after that was airline tickets for travel.
Ooh.
Yeah.
If you married a stewardess or a pilot, you could fly for free.
I gotta start flying and hitting on some chicks.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Your question, sir.
All right. Of all the jobs you've had, which one's your favorite?
That's pretty tough. To be fair, I've never liked any of my jobs because of the job.
Right.
I've never liked any of them as far as what I do. It was always the time, the moment, who I worked with, and
yeah,
it was probably when I worked at Best Buy.
Okay.
Just because I actually didn't completely hate that job.
Right.
Only because when I worked there, I only worked there for a short. When I was in there for maybe a year, maybe 2 years. I don't remember how long it took.
Okay.
But I got promoted pretty quickly. For whatever reason, those people loved me. So I got promoted pretty quickly. So I was actually I wasn't a salaried manager, but I was essentially one of the leaders, like a supervisor.
Okay.
So that was fun because I still got to do a lot of the just kind of walking around tasks, but I also got to, train people and coach people, and my biggest thing was essentially motivation. So, I was apparently pretty good at it.
Hey.
And it paid me significantly more to be able to do that, and the people that I worked with and all that. It was that was a really cool time.
Yeah.
And the discount was awesome.
What was the discount?
It was 5% above cost.
Okay.
So it varied.
Okay.
It wasn't like you get 25% off. It was whatever Best Buy pays to get that item in store, you only pay 5% above that.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good deal.
It was good.
My favorite job was actually working at the detail shop my brother owned when I first moved down here. We had all sorts of sweet clients. We had, at the time, Detroit Hummer. So for a few weeks there, I was that douchebag driving an H2.
Yeah.
We had Massey Cadillac. We had Dalglish Cadillac downtown Detroit. Got to drive some pretty sweet cars there. We had Law Auto Sales on Michigan Avenue in Wayne. They were my favorite just because of the new car manager, or essentially the guy who runs the show, Jerry.
Yeah.
Very dry sense of humor, but it was extreme. Like, as an example, I met his dad, really good dude, heard he had some health issues, hadn't seen Jerry in a while. I go in on a Saturday, and Jerry's there, and Jerry doesn't work Saturdays, but he hangs out just to make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to. So, I mean, I guess he works. And he's doing, like, that old man face cover with the paper. I was like, oh, Jerry, it's so good to see you. And he's got the paper up. He's like, yeah, it's good to see you too, Shaun. I'm like, how's your dad doing? And he folds the corner of the paper down and peeks out. He goes, just can't stop smoking that pipe. I was like, oh, tobacco? Folds the paper back down again. He goes, nah, crack. Stuff's killer. And just went back to reading his paper.
Okay.
Yep. He was the guy who gave me the keys to, at the time, was the new Challenger. And was like, you know, this car has, at the time it had 71,000 miles. 71,810, I think it was.
Okay.
And, well, this is important because when we check in cars, when we pick them up, we have to write the mileage down.
Yeah.
So they know we don't go dilly-dallying or whatever.
Right.
And he goes, you know, Shaun, this tripometer's off. This should actually have like 70,825. And then he throws the keys at me and goes, have fun.
Huh.
I was like, oh, really?
Like, oh, I get like 10 extra miles.
Yeah. So I took it down Michigan Avenue, cut down Inkster, got on 96 and just opened it up. I cannot, with all the stuff I've done with the cars we've gotten, I'm very surprised I did not get pulled over.
Nice.
I did manage to hit a personal customer's car with another car.
Uh-oh.
But they somehow thought the scratches were there when they brought it in.
Oh.
And one time I came within inches of fishtailing a Cadillac into a front end loader.
Shaun and his fun.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, I got to work with my brother. I got to drive some sweet cars, and it was physical work.
Yeah.
That's when I learned I loved physical work. So, you know, I'd go in at 9 a.m. I'd come home at 6. I'd be dead tired. My legs would be sore, back, arms. But I did something with myself.
And it helps the time go by faster.
Oh, for sure.
Or, you know, it makes it appear.
You know, I appreciate the other jobs I had after that, working in the jewelry stores and stuff. But there's something to be said about a job when you can watch 11 seasons of Cheers in 2 weeks.
You did do that.
Oh, my God. It was pretty good.
Ridiculous.
But, yeah. But that was my favorite job.
All right, I got another question for you. What makes you laugh the most, or what's guaranteed to make you laugh? Insert pause for dramatic effect.
My nephew's getting yelled at.
That makes you laugh?
Oh, my God. It's so... Because they have this tendency to throw one another under the bus when one gets in trouble. So, 2 days ago, yesterday, I'm sorry, yesterday was Monday, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay. So, Monday, my brother gets an email from one of my youngest nephew's teachers saying that he took the whiteout tape roll, removed it from the container, and then spun it around his head like a helicopter or a ribbon or a lasso. So my nephew gets home, and my brother and I are sitting there, and he's like, I got the email, Jordan. What was that about? And he goes, oh, I didn't think it was hers. And we're kind of like, mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So my brother looks at me, I look at him, I'm like, what do you think you should do? You know, how are you going to make this right? And he goes, apologize. I was like, and he knew where I was going with this, but he didn't want to say it. And then he said a few other things. I was like, I think I know what you want to do. You know what I want you to do. And he goes, all right, I'll buy her another one. It's like, all right, apologize and buy her another one.
Yeah.
We'll be good.
Yeah.
So his mom gets home because she works late on Mondays. She gets home and she is just full, she's had a rough day. So she comes in and she's yelling at Jordan. And she goes, what do you have to say for yourself after all said and done? And she goes, well, Kyle opened the hot dogs and didn't close them and got hot dog juice in the fridge. And then it just became this game of one-upsmanship as to see who could throw who under the bus the hardest.
Man.
Yeah. When my oldest and middle nephew got busted for smoking,
Yeah.
it was because my nephew Jordan got popped for swearing in school. And to take the heat off of him, he rolled on them.
So all the dirt's coming out.
Oh my God, it was glorious. But yeah, if you want a guaranteed laugh out of me, get my nephews in trouble.
Nice.
Yep. What about you? Besides fart jokes.
Besides fart jokes. Well,
As if.
Probably... I don't know. Probably, I guess what's probably guaranteed to make me laugh. Funny facial expressions, probably.
Huh?
I don't know, because like I said earlier, I'm kind of an observer. So I don't even have to, it doesn't have to be anyone that I even know. Even if we're just, say we're out and we're hanging out or something, and I'm just kind of crowd watching or scanning the room or whatever. Yeah, if I see something that someone does, or there's a goofy expression or some type of realization comes across their face. Yeah, I don't know why that always. I don't have to know exactly what's going on. I don't even have to know that person. It just can kind of make me chuckle.
Nice.
I'm a small moments kind of guy.
What's your weirdest hobby?
My weirdest hobby?
I mean, I'll just say mine now because I pretty much gave it away. Mine is people watching.
Is that weird though?
To a lot of people, it is. Like if you just outright say, "Oh, I'm just people watching," they'll be like, "Oh, okay."
I don't know that a lot of people find it weird.
I'm sure everybody does it, but they're not going to outright admit it. Social stigmas and what have you.
Oh, Michelle will. She's huge on the people watching.
God, my best moment was at 12 Oaks Mall. I was standing on the second floor by the elevators, and there's a Starbucks kiosk on the first floor. And this guy with a newspaper. My moments involve newspapers, apparently. Guy with the newspaper sits down at the table, opens the newspaper, somehow props it up, and then goes on the most furious nose-picking session I have ever seen.
So you're just enjoying yourself going, dude, this dude is getting in there.
Yeah.
Probably not. I will say habit, because habit is different from hobby.
Yeah.
I smell everything.
Really?
I do. I don't know if you ever notice, like not everything. It's not 100%, but it's pretty close. Like I do. Like even if I'll just kind of, if I like touch my face, or I'll
punch a microphone.
I'll punch a microphone. Then I'll smell my hand.
Okay.
If I get something like made out of paper or anything like that, especially paper stuff, I like paper stuff. So I'll smell that. Getting anything, I'll get a beverage or whatever. I'll take my whiff.
It makes the experience of drinking or eating or anything just that much more enjoyable.
I smell everything.
Yeah.
People watching isn't that weird.
It's so weird.
Okay, next thing. Do you like surprises, and why or why not?
I do. It's just the unknown of life. The majority of my surprises have been good.
That is a fair point, because you could take that definitely in the other direction.
Oh yeah, I know a lot of people that don't like surprises, just because of the unknown, but there's no joy in that.
I will agree with you. I think that surprises are a nice element to life, and especially when it is a nice surprise and something that's kind of clearly shows that out of the blue someone was thinking of you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so yeah,
Yeah.
those are nice moments. What song do you relate to the most, or one of?
Damn.
Not what's your jam, not what do you like to dance to or sing to. It can be that,
Yeah.
but what do you really truly like relate to? Do you want me to go first?
God, this is gonna sound so sad.
Dude, I'm right there with you. Go ahead.
Constantine by Something Corporate.
I don't know the song.
It's like 9 minutes long, but
Okay.
it's essentially a love song.
All right.
It has a really sweet piano solo and stuff in there. I still to this day can't sing it word for word. But growing up, I shouldn't say growing up. I was in high school when this came out. For a good portion of my 20s, that was my jam. That was the song I went to when.
That was like it was a song that probably you held so close to the vest and so personal. It wasn't one that you openly shared and recommended to other people because you wanted it to be your
That's
song.
my song. Andrew McMahon wrote that song for me.
I can absolutely relate to that. Yeah.
Also, when I was really angry, and you're gonna laugh at this,
Sure.
Limp Bizkit Break Stuff.
Yes. That's why we're friends.
That's right. All right, what do you got?
Oh, I'm buying you a red hat.
I'll wear it backwards too. Don't challenge me.
Please do.
Known fact, I can't wear hats forward. I have to wear it backwards.
I'm the opposite. I can't do it backwards. Okay, this is gonna be a big surprise for you.
Taylor Swift.
But it's a Pearl Jam song.
Yep.
And that song it's actually one of their hits. So it's a song that a lot of people know. And that's Black. And it's a catchy song, and it's a popular song, for a reason, because it is a very nice song. It's very well written, but the lyrics are essentially of being absolutely crazy about someone, in love with someone,
Mm-hmm.
but never being with that person, having to say goodbye and let that person go.
Yeah.
So that is unfortunately, because that's the strong memories and emotions that you kind of tend to relate to and remember the most through your life. I would also say, and this sounds really weird, but I would also say, just to not be completely depressing, but there's an instrumental song, and it's called "The World Is Our" by This Will Destroy You. And that sounds really weird to say that as an instrumental song, because typically you think of the lyrics and the message of a song. But for whatever reason, this song is, I don't know, like I can put that song on and I can listen to it, and it always takes me to a really cool place, and it really just kind of like inspires me and like motivates me, and it's a terribly emotive song.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of, to me, that speaks volumes of how well written that is, being an instrumental song.
Okay. That's different. I've never thought of instrumental song. And not just for you, for anyone, really.
Yeah.
Usually when I associate people with music, it's because of the words.
Yeah, definitely.
Not so much the beat or the
right,
melody.
because it's the story that's involved, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah. Do you have another one, or you want me just...
My final one?
Sure.
Gun to your head. Right now you have to make a change. What is it?
I want to give you a lame answer, such as career.
That's a great answer.
It is, but it's true.
Mhm.
I would absolutely right now be like, okay, this is one thing I'm changing. I'm out. I'm gonna decide to do this.
Something like that. I obviously can't be like, oh, today I'm done.
If you want me to give a little bit more about me, a little bit more personal,
Yeah.
I would say probably, I guess maybe put myself out there a little bit more. Maybe be a little bit more a little more open.
Okay.
Try to come out of my shell a little bit more, and that particularly relates to, you know, the social life and talking to girls and doing better in that area.
God, will you please have a Royal Oak moment like I did 2 years ago?
If only, friend.
Just make somebody walk into traffic just once.
I'm sure I'm sure I have those capabilities.
Hey, my name's Shaun. Right in the traffic she goes.
There you go. My girl will get hit though, and I'll. That's gonna be how the love of my life, the story of my love life is gonna go.
He hit on me.
How did you guys meet? Well, it started with an ambulance ride.
And she couldn't walk. Lucky me.
That's right.
Actually, this is kind of a cheater answer, but mine already happened.
Okay. Yeah, it is, because you said you'd have to make the change with the gun to your head. So.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago, I go into the office and I'd say hi to everybody, ask them how they're doing.
Yeah.
And this one person would keep asking me, how you doing? I'm like, I'm okay.
A very Shaun answer.
Very Shaun answer, yes. And I do that one more time, and she goes, "You just never have good days, do you? Not bad, but not good either." And, there was a joke there about never having a good day, and I laughed it off. And then it stewed, and it sat, and I got back to thinking the last couple of months, and I have been a shitty person.
Not necessarily.
Not to the extreme or anything, but in terms of, overall attitude and stuff.
Yeah.
And I can blame the situations I've been in and what I had to do to get out of them. No dick sucking or anything yet. But ultimately it was on me.
It always is.
Yeah. And I got out of them and everything's good now. So there's really nothing to be upset about.
That's true.
So, gun to my head, that was the change I needed to make. And it's been working out very well so far. Ever since I started doing it regularly, I've been getting back into the old ways of being able to sleep better.
Yeah.
I'm being a little bit better about my food choice. And I don't know why that was the linchpin in all this. But it was like I'm being better in my food choices now. I'm getting enough sleep. I'm waking up. I'm doing my work. I'm not pissing and moaning about doing my work.
See, I thought that you would go back to the physical thing of getting back in shape and lifting weights. And
I can't wait to do that.
Crushing some shit.
Oh, yeah. Recently, like I said earlier, the Incredible Hulk's slowly becoming my favorite hero.
Yeah.
So
it's just, and when you do go back to that and everything, because I know what some of your complaints were, before.
Mm-hmm.
You really need to kind of carry that attitude in almost all aspects of your life.
Yeah.
And that's just, this is what works for me. Mm-hmm. This is what I need to make sure that I do this, to make sure that I'm happy, and, all of that,
Yeah.
So if there is an element that is bringing you down and is nagging at you, then yeah, you need to just make sure you do things your way.
Mm-hmm.
So that you don't go all Fred Durst on us.
All right, those were mine.
Cool. I definitely have more.
Dang.
You know what? That one's kind of weak, so we'll just skip that.
Bless you.
I don't know if this one is interesting or not either. We've even kind of talked about that in our stories, so I'll let that one go too.
Okay.
All right, this one's just kind of a goofy one.
Yes.
Which of your 5 senses would you consider the strongest? And if you need a reminder, that is touch, sight, smell, sound, and taste.
My smell. I have talked to a few people who had the same, I feel it's a superpower. But like when you've hung around people enough, you kind of pick up on their scent. So like when I go home and like if my nephew Kyle has been at the house in the last hour, I can go, Kyle was here.
Yeah.
And when he didn't live at the house for a while and he would go there to grab like food and clothes and stuff when he wasn't supposed to, I could pick it up. I'd walk in with my brother and be like, oh, Kyle was here again.
I have a good sense of smell as well. And by the way, if I can just get a little slightly off topic and weird again, well, sort of relating to this.
We're getting weird with it.
They call them the five senses, but really we have more. We have so much more, really.
I think they're the five common.
Yeah, it's like your five main triggers. But I mean, yeah, if you think about it, we can sense weather, temperature, even things of like picking up on like feelings, empathy, like all of that. I think that's there's so much more there. But okay, dealing with these five main ones. I have a good sense of smell as well. I was going to say sight, but the thing is, hear me out. The thing is that I'm blind. Okay, take out my contacts and I can see where I'm going. I can see objects. But my eyesight is terrible.
Okay, Daredevil.
What I mean by that when I say sight is, again, going back to calling myself an observer, I feel like I can see things and pick up on things that maybe a lot of people aren't paying attention to, as in like facial expressions or moods or things of that nature. If we're not counting it as such, because technically my sight is terrible and I'm half blind, I would say then sound. I'm noticing more and more, and thankfully, how much better my hearing is versus a lot of my friends, because I'll hear things and pick things out that other people are just kind of like, I don't hear shit. What are you talking about?
I'm the worst.
Yeah, like, and that's pretty good to me because I always listen to my music loud. I've been to a ton of concerts. I listen to a lot of things with my headphones on, so I figured if anything, I would only be slowly hurting my hearing going on. But I'm noticing that it's still pretty damn good.
Very cool. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but lately I haven't been able to hear shit.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Are you sure you're just not paying attention?
That's probably it.
Ready for a fun one?
Let's do it.
If there was a holiday based on you, what would that mean? What would it entail? Tell us about it. If there was a Shaun Walford day and we were going to celebrate that, what the hell would that be?
It would be essentially another St. Patrick's Day.
I was afraid you were going to say something like that.
Sorry. My life's a party.
But would we have to... Okay, but take away the details. Like...
Oh, you wouldn't work. There'd be no work that day.
Okay.
Or the day after. For obvious
That's the way to do it.
Yep. No work the day after. It's a 2-day holiday.
How about better yet? Your holiday is always on a Saturday, but you still get Monday off.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Like President's Day. All right. No, I just... Even... And I've thought about it. I'm sure everybody else has. Even after I go... I still want it to be a party. There's no suit and tie, sad face. There's suit with tie around your head. Cake face? But that's all I'm taking.
I'll do that for you, friend.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
I can't remember who else they made me promise they would shoot confetti guns.
Ooh.
At random moments.
Cool.
I can't remember if there were keywords that they had to fire them off at, but there's confetti guns, so look out for those.
Instead of wearing green, everyone wears a fake beard.
There you go.
All right. So you just want everyone to party, drink it up, have a good time.
Yeah.
That's your holiday.
That's my holiday.
All right.
It's on a Saturday, but you get Monday off.
That's right.
Yep. All right, what about you?
That's not a bad call.
I swear to Christ, if you say Pearl Jam Day.
I was going to say, everyone just sits around and listens to moody music and cries.
Nailed it.
That's my day. You know what? And this is going to sound like one of those cop-out, cheap, touchy-feely answers, but... I'm not your style. I don't want my day to be a big drinking day or anything.
Okay.
By all means, if you want to drink, have at it.
That's fair.
Get blotto.
Yeah.
But I would want my holiday to be like... I would want everyone to do something... Everyone does something good. that day, either whether it's for yourself or something for the better good.
Okay.
So everyone, again, no work. Never involve that. Get that out of here. Everyone has that day and takes that day. So whether you just need some self-reflection time, or you need to just take an extra day to focus on your hobby, if you want to make some art, or if you want to go volunteer, just something for the better good. Kind of like maybe what an Earth Day is supposed to be, but it could also just relate to you personally.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Like a self-Earth Day.
Yeah.
A surf day.
Sure.
Yes. Made a holiday.
Shaun,
Yes.
do you have a hunch about how you might die?
Absolutely not.
No?
I mean, there's a pretty good guess as to how I'm going to die currently, but, I'm doing my best to halt that,
Please do.
slow it down.
I'd like you around for a few more years.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah. Keep this attitude going.
No, as of right now, no.
Nothing.
No.
Damn.
I hope I never find out how I'm going to die before that. By the way, if I'm ever stricken with like an incurable illness,
I was just going to say that's probably going to be mine, but
I need people to go out and find me the hardest of core drugs they can find and let me have them.
I'm going to...
I will be so sloppy on heroin if I get diagnosed with like super AIDS.
Yeah, you will. I was going to say, I'll take out some things that have potentially already been close for me. So I will take out drowning because I had a bad experience with that when I was younger.
Jesus.
Disease, I'll take that out because I battled that and had a very bad experience with that when I was younger.
What was it?
I had when I was younger, and I don't know the story. I really should know this story exactly, but basically what happened when I was younger was I had seizures. I have epilepsy.
Oh, okay.
So I have seizures, and I remember being in the hospital. I don't know what exactly triggered this trip to the hospital over for it, because I had been having seizures already up to this point. I don't know. I think this was just like the kind of like, worried mom family thing of just kind of like I had another episode and they were probably taking me to see if I should be on like medication or see a specialist or something. So,
right.
I did get a medication. It turns out it was something that I was highly allergic to.
Oh.
And I started to have this particular medicine, if you are allergic to it, can cause what is called, there's several things that it can cause, one of which is it's called Stevens-Johnson syndrome.
Okay.
And that is some type of like toxic thing that your reaction that your body has. So I grew like pusses and sores and all this stuff, like almost like essentially head to toe. I was covered with this stuff all over my body.
Okay.
And if not treated quickly enough and accurately enough, it will absolutely kill you.
Oh, for sure.
So I had that when I was younger. Fortunately, they did catch it.
Good.
I did heal. I am still sitting here with you today.
Yay.
So I'm going to knock those out and say it might not be something like that. I'm thinking mine would be something off the wall of just, you guys would just be like, what? Seriously? That's how Josh went? Really? Like, but I don't really know what
like
that is.
Like a plane lands on your house?
Something, man.
Yeah.
Of all the houses, I guess I don't really know either. I don't really have a good hunch. Mine's going to be something so stupid. Like I'm going to trip over a rock and just like break my face.
Or I'm going to try to save you from getting hit by a bus but push you into it.
Something like that.
Yep.
I thought I was doing the right thing. Turns out I was the cause of his death.
Yep. My bad.
All right, so we had boring answers for that one. That's okay, though. If you ever get a hunch, let me know.
I will.
I'll keep you away from it.
I'll post on Facebook.
Last one, I think. Is it?
Yeah, you said 2. That was 1.
Okay. What is one thing that you do that you've never noticed someone else doing? Like, what is unique to you? What is a Shaun thing?
Do you have one? Besides itching your nose?
I think I have several, really.
All right. So I'm going to have to think on mine. So
I'm giving away one of my secrets. I'm giving away one of my poker faces, if you will.
Dang.
And I believe actually I've even told you this before, but there's this thing that I do. Whereas, let's say we're talking about secrets or trying to essentially, maybe you're trying to get some information out of me or a story out of me or something like that, or you guess about something like that we're talking about, whatever that I'm, I'm being picky and I'm not telling you or whatever for whatever reason. If you say dangerously close to what it is or what it is, I'll smile.
Yep.
I won't tell you that you're right. I won't say another word.
Yep.
I won't look away. I won't do anything else. I don't even think I'll even blush. I'll just smile. That's kind of one of the things that I notice that I do a lot. If somebody is dangerously close to saying something or hinting at something or whatever, I'll just smile.
I still got nothing.
You have nothing that you're just kind of like, I do this all the time, and not one other person have I seen do this.
Oh, I say bless you all the time.
You definitely do that way. It's not that no one else does it.
Yeah.
But you do. If someone
Regardless.
sneezes and I don't hear bless you now, I'm just like, where the fuck is Walford? Like, you by far are the leader of bless yous.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Good job on that, by the way.
Yeah.
Nice coverage.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter.
No.
Someone is 30 feet away across the room. You hear that sneeze. You're, bless you.
I've gotten people building links before. In the new place in Detroit, sitting on we're on the far, I'll just call it the south end, and the people that own the building are on the far north end.
Yeah.
And you'll just hear like a sneeze, and I'll go, bless you. And every once in a while I hear a thank you, or otherwise I'll just hear people go, oh.
There you go. You got it. You nailed it.
Yeah.
That's something for you.
That's a Walford thing.
All right. I guess that's pretty much all that we have for this episode. We hope you enjoyed hearing some silly, hopefully interesting things about us. Hopefully you learned some stuff. Hopefully you giggled at us. And hopefully we didn't put you to sleep. But thanks for listening, everyone, to our first episode here, the Heavy Sigh. We will hopefully have many more to come.
Yeah, at least 10.
At least.
Yeah.
We can make it through a couple of months. Okay, that wraps this bad boy up. Again, thank you everyone for listening. Really quick, we would love to mention our Pittsburgh friends. They make a pretty nice podcast. They're really cool fellows, really helpful to us actually when we were but youngins and we were starting off. They did everything they could to mention us and help us out. So they've got a great show over there. If you give them a listen to, we're pretty sure that you'll like them. They've got some pretty geeky things and some funny things going on over there. And that is One Up Cup. They've got a Facebook page, Twitter, and their blog at oneup-cup.com. And you can listen to those guys on SoundCloud and iTunes.
We'd also like to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, and I'm going to be very biased on this one, Detroit Grooming Company. Why am I biased? Because I'm a part of it. We make beard oils, we make pomades, we make beard butters, mustache waxes, we sell brushes, combs, straight razors, We're looking into selling children pretty soon. I'm just kidding. If you don't want to support a company that doesn't sell children, fine, whatever. Visit us at DetroitGrooming.com. Also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Detroit Grooming.
And one more, if we could. Please check out Cellar Door Soap and Skin, appropriately named, as they sell all sorts of products for your skin, for some soapage, get your cleanage, all that stuff. They make great vegan products. You can check them out on their website, cellardoorsoapandskin.com. And all of the social medias there as well. You can find them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you, everyone.